What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Rumpier Sports Hardwood Show for some Friday night NBA action. We have 10 games. As always, a lot of news we're waiting on. A very interesting situation, actually, in Houston, where they've listed basically their entire team on the injury report. So it's going to be interesting to see how that ends up playing out, because they're right on the borderline of having 8 bodies. I'm sure they're only going to have 8 at the most, 9. That game starts, I believe, 8 p.m. Eastern. Outside chance we get the news. If we don't, obviously, tune in to JSU and Holden. They'll be taking you up to lock. They'll be able to cover it all on the final countdown. As always, I'm joined by my boy AP. Big T has ditched us again on Friday in favor of the MLB show, but our boy, the chart man himself, Mr. K. Fallick, has joined us. K. Fallick, thanks for joining us. What's going on?
Happy to be here. Felt like it was an appropriate slate, as we have a total of 4 players for the Rockets that are for sure playing today, and then unsure on 5. Pretty sure that a handful of those won't play. So I felt like I could offer a little bit maybe on this slate, but it's good to be here on a nice Friday afternoon in Nashville, Tennessee.
Yes, we'll take all the help we can get. AP has been grinding the playbook, and I feel bad for you. I mean, I'm on the cash chart, so I mean, it's a little bit of wiggling around with the news. The playbook, though, man, it's got to be a toughie on a day like today, right?
Yeah, lots of yellow on there. Lots of to be determined. Need the news, and it is what it is. That's why, look, with how fast this news hits. It's inefficient to, let's just say we get the news 30 minutes out. It's inefficient to update the playbook. That's irrelevant. You got to be in Discord. You got to watch before the core plays, and you got to watch the Up to Lock show. When those guys, K. Fallick's often on there, JSU, Big T hops on, they're talking like a roundtable discussion. It's a great format. Get on there. I usually try to get into chat when I can. But again, we don't have these plays just in our pocket ready to go instantly, right, when the news hits. It takes time to build out and map out our course, because those are the plays that we're playing. So it's a great day. Get in Discord. Yeah, be ready for lots of action.
Slates like today, and honestly, every slate, I'd say, once the playoffs start, we have a pretty good idea what's going on. There's not as much uncertainty. So, if you are a member at Rumpier Sports, just keep in mind, yes, the playbook is an important aspect of what we offer, the premium content, but the more important stuff for the next week until this is done, until they start the playing games, you want to be in the Discord. You want to check the cash chart as that's updated all the way through the last game. You want to check core plays. Those are obviously always updated. And you want to watch that show with JSU and Holden up to lock. They're going to give you the most up-to-date news, and not only the most up-to-date news, but analyzing that news. K. Fallick's been joining, Big T's been joining. So a lot of different conversations going on. Those are the important aspects. Yes, the playbook is definitely.
I've actually said that I think that the playbook after a certain time.
Did you guys see this? Zion Williamson out indefinitely with a fractured finger.
Yeah. Ooh. Yeah. So that will. That changes the slate quite a bit, because Brandon Ingram's already out too. And I'm sure now, I mean, the Pelicans will obviously throw it in here for the rest of the regular season. They obviously were on the edge of getting in that play-in tournament. That'll do it for them. And I'm assuming we'll see some pretty funky lineups for the Pelicans for this next week. That's definitely.
I'm gonna go do some chart homework real quick. Y'all keep chatting.
Yeah, we'll keep chatting. You focus on the charts, but honestly, they have quite a few bodies. I think we're going to see a lot of uncertainty with this team starting tonight. And I'm now, Embiid was added to the injury report as questionable early on in the day. I think that solidifies that he ends up sitting tonight as well. But before we go ahead and get into the games, let's talk about some of the winners that we had here at RPS. And yesterday we had a couple. Our boy Drew Wanas won. Took down 1.5K in NBA last night. Had a solid team. It looks like strong focus there on the Toronto-Washington game yesterday. Westbrook, Van Fleet, Gary Trent Jr., Siakam, Birch. Big Yeah, well, basically like a game stack there that obviously worked out well because that game went to overtime. So solid performance by him. And then longtime member and active Discord member, Mr. Pensack. DD Pensack 107 took down 25K in MLB last night, took down the, what is this one? I already got second in the MLB 200K walk-off, 50K at first. He got second for 20K, and then looks like he got third in the 3 max for 4K. So 25K win for him. Members continue to do well. The baseball content has been on point. The basketball content has been solid. Busting our ass here to this last week. It's going to be a tough one, but we're going to get through it. Once the playoffs start, as I said, we'll kind of start getting back to the normal flow of things. But Discord, checking the core plays, checking the cash chart, watching JSU hold in, Big T hops on there, ton K Phallic. Those are the very important aspects of our product for this next week. But we have 10 games. AP, anything else before we go ahead and hop into these games?
No, let's dive in.
All right, looks like the chart man is refocused. He's looking at the camera. He's ready to go. He's got us hooked up. First game, Pelicans, 76ers, 226.5 total. Philadelphia was favored by 8.5. I have a feeling that number is going to go ahead and move up a little bit, which is unfortunate. On a side note, I was on the bet show earlier, and whenever I go on the bet show with spread, I always pull up the sports book so I can bet if something happens or they bring up a good point. And while we were on the show, we got the Embiid news that he was questionable. So I had the DraftKings. Yeah. So immediately on the show, I'm like, oh, sweet. I said, I have it up right here. Give me the Pelicans plus that 9. I was loving it, feeling good. Not anymore, because that number, like I said, is going to be going up. So we just got the news, as we said, Zion is out for the rest of the season. Basically, he's done, and it probably wraps up things for the Pelicans. Obviously, me, AP, haven't had a chance to fully analyze this. K Phallic said he was going to look into some things, so he'll give us the breakdown there. On the 76ers side, Embiid, they bumped a question ball. This has to solidify him sitting out tonight now that Zion's out. And I wouldn't be surprised if they potentially add on. They're in coast mode right now. We've talked about it on every show. They're coasting to the playoffs. They're comfortable where they're at. There's no need to push anything. So this game could be pretty sloppy. I likely won't have any 76ers regardless of what happens with Embiid, but the Pelican side is an interesting side. K Phallic, what are the initial thoughts here?
Yeah, so we do have a good little sample size of when Zion and Brandon Ingram have both been out. So there was 3 games late. I'm just looking at the exact dates, but I believe it was late March, early April. No, it was the first 3 games in April where both of them were out. So the thing is that Steven Adams is questionable. So what happened in those games is that Jackson Hayes moved into the starting lineup with James Johnson, and then Steven Adams was starting at center, so you can put Willie Hernangomez in at center if Adams is out. And then you have Lonzo and Eric Bledsoe also. And so the only added piece that I see post that time, there were 2 pieces, is James Nunnally, who's more of a small forward shooting guard position. And then Wenyen Gabriel, is that his name? Came in late April as well. James Johnson saw 33 minutes ish, all 3 of those games. Was very active. That was wasn't that like right around the trade deadline, I want to say, or something like that, where
he sounds about right. I guess I didn't mention actually in the opening that Brandon Ingram's out and Steven Adams is doubtful, so that's obviously important information, but continue.
Yeah, so I think what you're looking at is Willie Hernangomez getting his regular minutes that he's been getting lately. Jackson Hayes is going to play the power forward position, is what I'm going to guess, and then you have James Johnson playing small forward. It could be a little bit adjusted with Najee Marshall playing small forward. We'll just have to see how all those pieces fall. Nah being questionable changes things as well. If he's available, then they could have more guards available. But basically what happened is game ran through Lonzo and James Johnson. Jackson Hayes was very efficient when he had opportunities as well. And Bledsoe saw a usage bump, obviously, too. So there are a lot of pieces. I think we need to wait for the starting lineup for this one because Stan Van Gundy still kind of focuses in on that starting lineup quite a bit. But if you see someone like Najee Marshall starting over James Johnson or James Johnson moving up to power forward, I think James Johnson's a great play. The question is he a better play than the potentially 6 Houston Rockets that are playing today? If the Rockets throw 6 or 7 guys, the Rockets are, I want to say this out front as a Rockets fan, they're not going to cancel the game. They are going to suit up 8 players and they are going to play the number of players that are healthy. So just know that ahead of time that you are going to have a Rockets game. So do not plan that there's not going to be a Rockets game tonight because they don't have enough bodies. So that's my thoughts on the Pelicans. 76ers, I don't think you really need to think about right now just because there's too much value on the slate. I guess Tobias Harris could be in play if you think the game can stay close. He could get a lot of usage.
I think I pretty much agree with everything you said. On the Pelican side, I mean, that's the point I brought up even when we talked about it on the bet show. Like with the Pelicans team, you want to know who's starting. And a lot of times, with the value guys, okay, if they come off the bench, they're fine. With the Pelicans, I want the starters because all season long, the starter, whoever starts in these spots, these are the guys that typically play a lot of minutes. And I will say, Stan Van Gundy has done a terrible job, and I think he's an atrocious coach. Like he's done a really bad job with this team. That's just a side note. I just don't like the guy, so I wanted to throw that in there. Not that it really is important for the DFS slate, but I want to see who starts here. 76ers side, not much interest unless multiple guys are out. AP, anything to add here to the conversation?
Yeah, I mean, that was a good breakdown. I think, a couple guys, Willie Hernangomez, he didn't play last game, but it would definitely make sense for him to enter the rotation here. James Johnson is the guy, like, are they really going to run him out for a lot of minutes? He's 34, 35 years old. I don't see it. So Kira Lewis, maybe he's a guy we haven't seen much of in quite some time. I think we could see a lot of randomness here. I agree with both of you that we do need to wait for the starting lineups before we can fully break this down.
Yep. Let's go ahead and keep moving. Got 10 games on the slate. Haven't mentioned it yet, but do us a favor, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. It helps us to continue to bring you guys these videos on a daily basis covering all the main DFS boards. So please do us that favor, like and subscribe to this video. Next game on the slate, Celtics, Bulls, 224.5, Boston favored by 4. This was, if you had the opportunity to watch the bet show, this was my bet of the day. I really like Boston in the spot to win this game. Chicago's coming off that big win last night. They absolutely smashed the Hornets. Boston is fighting to stay out of that playing game. It's fun. I actually, if for no other reason, like this playing thing because you're getting some of these teams. I mean, basically, if you're like the 5th through like 11th seed, like there's a reason for these teams to be battling at the end of the season. Team like the Celtics, they know they're in the playoffs. Are they going to be the 5 seed, the 6 seed, 7 seed? Like they might not care and they just kind of coast. Well, now they got to play their ass off to avoid this playing game. So I like this as a bet. Really like the Celtics. It was my free bet on the bet show. So if you can still like that number, it's they're -4. But from a DFS perspective, not my favorite game here. Chicago's on a back-to-back. Levine's back playing in short little stints. I'm assuming it'll be the same tonight. Really takes away from a lot of these guys. And then on the Boston side, no Jaylen Brown. And, on a smaller slate, maybe we'd look to some of these Boston guys, but they still have a lot of bodies. Kemba, Smart, Fournier is getting more involved. Tatum, Robert Williams, they still have a lot of guys. And Tatum, I mean, the price is way up there. And he's 10-5 on DK. I just can't play him over some of the other studs on the slate. So for me, this game is a fade for DFS purposes, but I like Boston -4 AP. What are your thoughts here?
Yeah, I agree with you. I think, Kemba at 7-6, if he beats me, he beats me. I'm not playing anyone on the Bulls side. Vucevic, he had a great game yesterday. I just, 10-4. I'd rather play Jokic, I'd rather spend up. Jason Tatum. Here's one interesting thing to think about. I don't know what happens on these Friday nights, but this dude has been smashing on Fridays. So his last 5 games on Fridays, one of them didn't matter because it was a blowout. The others, 57, 58.5, 75.5, 82 DK points. If you like narratives, if you think Friday nights matter, it seems to be the night that Tatum goes off. Take it for what it is. I don't know if that's enough to push me on him. 10-5 is a lot to pay, but the dude has upside. He really does. He makes for a very interesting tournament play at 10-5.
Yeah, I can't imagine many people are going to click that name. I mean, it's a sticker shock price tag, to be honest with you, when you consider the top tier studs on the slate are right in that same range. K. Fallick, thoughts here, Boston, Chicago.
Yeah, so first of all, on the Chicago side, as you said, with Zach LaVine being back and playing in the short stints that he is, hard to play him. It's hard to play anybody on the team, excuse me. They're a tough team to play. On the Boston side, I agree with what you all are saying, but I will just say that if this game gets to a high scoring and close, it's all going to come through Kemba and Tatum. So right now, the Celtics are playing tight rotations. They're playing playoff basketball, as was said. Jason Tatum played 31 minutes and did not see the court in the fourth quarter last game. You had Kemba Walker played 28 minutes. He only saw the court for 2.5 minutes in the fourth quarter, which means he was on pace to probably 37-ish minutes or 36 minutes because he had already gotten his break of the second half. Same with Marcus Smart, 30 minutes. The question is, are they going to be able to be productive enough with their price tags? Ownership wise, they become good at GPP plays for that reason. That they could be on the court for a ton of minutes. And the thing is you don't have to throw out anybody on Chicago coming back because the minutes are being so spread out and Chicago's trying to see what their guys have.
I will say, I got to add on to what K. Fallick said real quick. Like, I would definitely play a guy like Jason Tatum over someone like Giannis tonight in a spot to where that game's not going to stay close. I don't see how it can at all. So there is merit definitely to playing Tatum.
I don't see a ton of pay-up spots, to be honest, that are really elite spots.
Well, I think Giannis is a terrible play. Like I hope people are on him tonight. I can't imagine clicking the name of anyone really on that Bucks team. We'll get there because I think that is definitely the most important game to analyze for this slate. But next game here, we got Minnesota, we got Miami. 226.5 total. The Heat are favored by 6.5 in this game, and very hard game to really analyze because we have Jimmy Butler listed as questionable, Tyler Hero also listed as questionable. If both those guys play, don't have much interest in this game at all, outside of maybe a cheap guy on the Minnesota side, Jared Vanderbilt, 3.3K. Should see some decent run here. He'd be a full punt. I don't know if we need it, though, now with this Pelicans situation. If Butler's out, if Hero's out, I think you can look to Dragic. You can look to potentially Kendrick Nunn.
Max Struss?
Yeah, Struss. What did he do? I got to know. I mean, I went out of my way. Did you play him?
No. So let me say again, I'm glad to be on the show to provide my story. Because I get this Max Struss talk, and I want to be very clear. Max Struss was in play if Andre Iguodala was not starting at the 3. And that's what I was saying the whole time, is that if they play more of a small team like they do regularly, where they play Jimmy Butler, where they play Duncan Robinson, and when they play Kendrick Nunn or Victor Oladipo as their 1, 2, 3, it puts guys like Max Struss in play because they move Iguodala up to the 4 behind Trevor Ariza. But with their decision is that they're playing Iguodala at the 3. It seems like when these guys are out, so it takes him out of play because they're not moving Iguodala to the 4. So yeah, that's the story on my Max Struss love. I did not play him though.
Good. Well, so my job was my mission was accomplished. I came on the Up to Lock show to talk you off of Struss. Glad you didn't go there. It looks like you only got like 14 minutes. So talk to me, though, about this game, the Timberwolves Heat. Any interest here? It's hard because Butler and Hero are both.
Yeah, so the big news is Butler and Hero. I will continue to say that it's really hard to play value plays in any game except for in New Orleans,
Yeah.
in Houston, and possibly in Dallas today. I'm not sure if I'm missing any spots, but possibly Sacramento, I guess. But those are the spots that you're wanting to hit with the value guys. So playing a guy like Vanderbilt seems like a very light move. I'm not saying you said to play him, but it's a tough play to play any of these value plays because there's so much good value
and that's that's a very important point that you bring up there, because on a 6-game slate where we don't have all this value, Vanderbilt would be clearly in the conversation, would be a strong option. Well, we have 10 games and we have, now it's continuing to add up where we have these elite value situations. Really takes away from someone like Vanderbilt as a value play. So I agree. Would you play any interest in like Towns or Bam if Jimmy Butler's out?
Yeah. So what's interesting is that we're getting back to Anthony Edwards when Towns was out right now. It's I haven't watched the games, to be honest. I don't think he's going to be as efficient as he was last game where he dropped 66 on the Grizzlies, but I will say that he is still putting up 20 plus shots. His usage is through the roof currently. And again, he's going to be 1% owned. He's a guy that you can get at 1% ownership to fill in that lineup that makes you really excited about what you possibly have there. I think that if Jimmy Butler plays, does Miami has stuff to play for? Yeah, they're the number 7 seed. So the Heat are playing to get out of that spot as well. So you have to put him in consideration if they are not playing. Otherwise, I'd have to see what the mid-tier looks like with a build I have not built yet, because it's just a waste of time to build right now. But guys like Kendrick Nunn are definitely in play if they're not playing. A guy like Goran Dragic is in play as well. But I think they're just safe. I think they're more cash plays than they are GPP plays, probably.
Yeah, most likely. But yeah, we'll see. It is hard, like you said, to know the direction you want to go, because there's just no point in no point at all to go out and build a team at this point. So much uncertainty. AP, any interesting guys here on the Timberwolves or Heat?
Yeah, I think I'm kind of similar with K Falik. If Jimmy Butler is ruled out, I think that changes a lot in this game. I would have interest in D'Lo. I would have interest in Anthony Edwards. Those two played pretty well. D'Lo got the start last game, and Anthony Edwards has something to play for. The Wolves don't, but he thinks he's literally like the best player in the world, and he'll come out and say it. It's wild to hear. But if Jimmy sits, I think this game stays close, and I definitely think it's one that's interesting for fantasy purposes. One guy I will mention that I love in tournaments, I think they're, and maybe K Falik can confirm this. I don't know if it's due to injury, but Naz Reid continues to get like 22 to 24 minutes off the bench. We know he's a productive guy. He's 3'6", and he's a guy that, can get you 30 in 22 minutes. So I don't hate him in tournaments. It's kind of a 1% owned type of guy that no one's going to play.
Yeah, and the Timberwolves are interesting in the fact that they're obviously eliminated from playoff contention, but they're playing their guys, and that really can't be said about a lot of teams in the NBA that are out of contention. So I don't hate maybe coming here for some sneaky type plays. All right, let's go to the game of the slate, really, or the team of the slate. And it's the Houston Rockets, and they're playing the Bucks. 232 total. Milwaukee's favored by 16.5, 17, whatever it is. And it's one of those situations in DFS where we're going to have a team, like K Falik alluded to, where they're just not going to have any bodies. He kind of said that he thinks no matter what, they're going to roll out enough bodies or have enough guys dressed to play this game. Yes, I agree that is going to happen. But as it stands right now, basically everybody that could potentially play is listed as questionable or on the injury report. Very hard to pinpoint exactly the guys we want until we know who's in and out. But we already know you're going to want some of these Houston Rocket guys. Yes, they're probably going to get their ass kicked. Yes, they're probably going to get blown out here. But they're projected to score 108 points. And, that's going to come from some guys that might be pretty damn cheap on the DFS site. So I'm going to go to you first, AP. Talk to me about this game situation here and how you're handling it.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. We're going to see. I agree. They're going to play this game. Even if we don't. I hope we don't get the news, because hopefully people waste value pieces early in the earlier games. But against Philly, like Kenyon Martin played 44 minutes. Daquan Jeffries played 44 minutes. Daquan Jeffries played 41, and Kelly O played 39. These guys are going to have to get run. I think, I'll be interested to hear what you guys think, but. I mean, Wood, when's the last time Wood played? Like, it's been, I think.
Yeah, so they said that Wood was going to be out for for a couple games. They didn't want to shut him down for the season. I'm trying to see when the last time he played was on the 2nd. So he's only missed 2 games. They said he was going to miss 2 to 3, or he's only missed 1 game, I think. But they said he was going to miss 2 to 3 games. So
they don't. Like, do they have any reason to give Kelly O rest tonight and play Wood, or just they've been running Kelly O out there for tons and tons of minutes anyway? Like, I think he's a guy that plays. I think Wood's a guy that could possibly play. Wouldn't they sit these older guys?
So the answer is that it's just healthy bodies. This comes down to just solely healthy bodies. So last game, Kevin Porter Jr. got injured halfway through the game, and they had 6 guys to play. So without Avery Bradley, it's actually kind of nice because you can get rid of that. I don't want to call him worthless body, but he's just a body out there, and it leaves you with 4 for sure players in KJ Martin and Kenyon Martin Jr., Armani Brooks, Anthony Lamb, and Daquan Jeffries. So those 4 are for sure going to play. If Jayshawn Tate plays, I think he's going to play some point guard. He's going to be the big point guard, which is interesting. If Kelly O plays, he's going to be the guy who's going to get all the usage. If Christian Wood plays, they don't like playing Christian Wood as a post player. They like playing him off the ball. So it doesn't mean that he's not going to have a good game, but paying $9K for Christian Wood coming off an injury where he's definitely still injured is a very steep thing to do. I just think that DJ Augustine is the interesting news as well, because if he is in, that's probably 20-ish minutes of point guard minutes that somebody loses. So I think that the answer is that Kelly O is going to get crazy usage and crazy minutes if he is in, no matter what. And then you're looking at the other guys. Jayshawn Tate will get crazy minutes no matter what too. And you're playing with 6.5 guys. Christian Wood, I don't think is going to play more than 30 to 35 minutes if he plays. And I'm not even sure. I think he's the most doubtful of all of them. And then DJ Augustine, there's no way they're going to play him more than 20 or 25 minutes. So I'm just trying to crank it down a little bit. We need news. We need news on 2, in my opinion, 3 guys, Tate, Olynyk, and Wood. News on DJ Augustine doesn't affect very much. No matter what, the 4 guys that are for sure in are incredible plays, because it really doesn't matter. They're gonna run 40 minutes, 35 to 40 minutes each. Armani Brooks is probably my least favorite right now. But he's the one that has the most GPP upside, probably.
You don't. Oh, he's like my favorite.
Yeah, he just has a lot. He has a lot of upside, is what I'm saying. But
the pace in this game is going to be phenomenal. I mean,
he's a 3-point shooter. He's a 3-point shooter though. He doesn't do anything else. He reminds me of like a.
But the Bucks can't guard the 3-point line. That's like one of their biggest weaknesses right now. So I will say, DJ Augustine, K. Fallick. They said he was active last game, and they made a note. They came out and said unlikely to play. Yeah. So I think I agree with you. I think him and Wood are like the most doubtful. I think it's Brooks, Jeffries, Tate, Kelly O, and then KJ Martin with Lamb rotating in is kind of how I see it. And then I agree with you, Wood, maybe 30 minutes at most is kind of what I was thinking.
If Tate plays and DJ Augustine does not, I think that puts Tate very much in play. In a very interesting play. I'm going to look for when he played that like point forward earlier when the James Harden trade was coming. He played a lot of that point forward and was seeing a lot of the ball. It was like back, I'm looking at January 14th, for example, and he saw the ball a lot and he had 10 assists that game. He had 22 usage. So he's a good player. He's a really good player, and he loves going at the basket. So got to have interest in him.
And when they're thin and he's out there, he typically kind of turns into like a ball hog, I guess you could say. Like he's not even looking to pass. Like he wants to just go to the rack. So
Yep.
he's good for DFS purposes, that's for sure. So this is a situation. It's an hour after lock. If we have the news, obviously these guys are going to be popular. If we don't have the news at lock, you definitely want to save some spots to make the moves here. I mean, this is clearly a situation where you sacrifice some of these early play. And there is only I guess there's only 2 games early. It's only the Pelicans, 76ers, and Boston, Chicago. So you definitely will have time to adjust for this. You want to keep the flexibility though, for sure. That's the one thing I'll definitely recommend. If you're not a member yet at Rumpier Sports, head on over there. Check us out. We have the promo going, RPS Heater 25. Gets you 25% off your first payment of a monthly package. Any monthly package that we offer, get 25% off that first payment with RPS Heater 25. All right, let's keep it moving. Next game, we have the Magic. We have the Hornets, 215.5 total. Charlotte's favored by 7.5 in this game. Back-to-back here for Charlotte. They got absolutely beaten down by the Bulls last night. Back-to-back here. They're still big favorite because they're going up against this crappy Orlando Magic team. The price tags for these guys on DK are just not very appealing. Like 8.2 for LaMelo on a back-to-back. Can't do that. Rozier, 8K. PJ Washington, 7K. Just not very appealing price tags. They are better on FanDuel, though. Terry Rozier still 6.2K. I think he's a strong FanDuel shooting guard play. Then on the Magic side, with Wendell Carter Jr. out, Mo Bamba has been crushing. And really, he's a guy that just all he really needed was minutes. And he's finally starting to see those 29 minutes, 31 in his last 2 games, 46 fantasy points and 53 fantasy points. Specifically on DK is probably going to be the highest owned guy, 6.1K on DK. It's just too cheap for the role that he's playing now. Like I said, he'll be very popular. The other guy I think is in play here for the Magic, RJ Hampton, playing a lot of minutes. Production has been great, 30 minutes, 35, 31, 41 fantasy points, 47 fantasy points, and 40 fantasy points. He's, like I said, 5.2K. So I think he is a strong option tonight on DK. Let's go to you first, K. Fallick. Thoughts here on this Magic Hornets game?
Yeah, I got to be honest. Except for the Terry Rozier price tag that you just threw out on FanDuel, not a ton of interest in this game. I know people are going to like Mo Bamba. I get the idea with him. I'm not saying it's a bad play, but I will say that he smashed last game with 3 steals and 4 blocks. So I think that's important to throw out. And I'd be careful with that. And I just, you have this feeling. I have this feeling that he's going to be in foul trouble going against LaMelo, going against PJ, stuff like that. So personally, I'm going to be going with the fade move on Mo Bamba, and the game as a whole. I don't have interest in this game personally, except for I think Terry Rozier could be a good play. Malik Monk is the only other guy that I think is somewhat interesting, but you have to know what you're getting with him. Don't be upset when he's 4.5K and getting you 10 points, but also don't be upset when you don't play him and he gets 35 points because he puts up all the shots and is effective. If he's efficient that day, he's going to smash. If he's not efficient, they're going to bench him. That's what they've been doing in Charlotte, and it's because they're in the playoff race. So I think you got to know what you're getting yourself into with him when you're playing it, because they are currently holding that 8 spot. They want to hold on to that 8 spot because if they win one game against the number 7 seed, they go to the playoffs, and that's their goal. That's their team goal this year, is to make the playoffs. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's a good point. And I think Charlotte's an easy team to avoid on DK. I mean, the prices just are not very appealing basically at all. I mean, they're up there on a back-to-back, not the greatest spot. AP, any interest for you, Magic or Hornets?
Yeah, so LaMelo Ball on FanDuel and maybe a little bit on DraftKings, I have some interest in. He got into foul trouble and was pretty bad yesterday, 1 for 10, but he didn't play much. He played like 20 minutes. Despite being 1 for 10, he still he still racked up the peripheral stats. Like, he's going to be super low tonight. Great matchup against the likes of Cole Anthony and some of these guys. He's going to play a lot against these backups as well. he's a guy that I would not be surprised if he had a big game here, like in a easy matchup against the Magic. Terry Rozier underpriced on FanDuel. I like that. The guy I would definitely not play also is Biyombo. He's just been not good. He's splitting time with Zeller. Zeller's been far more the productive guy. But I kind of agree with K. Fallick here. I don't hate limiting exposure to this game. Mo Bamba, his price is coming up quickly. RJ Hampton, a guy we've liked, his prices, he's not 4K like he was a few games ago anymore. So once these prices come up, it's not unlikely for these guys to bust. So I like that call.
Yep, I'm fine with that. Keep it moving. We have the Cavs. We have the Mavericks, 219.5 total. Dallas favored by 10. Got a little bit of news just a few minutes ago. Kevin Love is now questionable. Wouldn't be surprised if he ended up sitting. And then on the Dallas side, I mean, this is a team that I kind of ragged on all season long. But some guys are finally starting to step up and they're playing better. Tim Hardaway Jr. is a guy that's been playing very well. And, it's because of the role they've given him. They've let him take more shots and be more aggressive on offense. And it's kind of paying off for him and the team. He's coming off a couple solid games here, 33 minutes, 37 minutes. Had that 50 fantasy point game against Miami, a 35 fantasy point game yesterday against Brooklyn. Looked really comfortable out there. I think he's pretty interesting play tonight. I don't hate Tim Hardaway Jr. Willie Cauley-Stein, 3.3K. I want to like him, but they're just not giving him minutes, and he's been playing pretty well yesterday. 21 minutes, put up like 24.5 fantasy points. But again, like we talked about earlier, K. Fallick brought it up where you really want to focus your value plays on some of those other spots opposed to these fringe ones. So for me in this game, maybe some Luka. I don't know, like Luka. We got some more Pelicans news. We'll circle back and talk about that. But Luka, this whole season, it's just not. Yes, he's shown flashes of the upside, but not the consistent upside. Think if I'm picking one guy to spend on, I don't think it's going to be Luka. Probably going to go to Jokic. The Cleveland side, maybe if Kevin Love's out, we can take a look at some of these other guys. But they're a team that really has nothing to play for, so it's kind of hard. Overall, I'm going to be mostly off this game. AP thoughts here, Cavs, Mavs.
I mean, yeah, I was very low on this game. I'm not paying almost 9K for Colin Sexton. I don't even like Luka on this back-to-back. Like you said, Willie Cauley-Stein and Dwight Powell split minutes. THJ's fine. I will say, if Kevin Love's out, Isaiah Hartenstein, 3.1K. There's been times where I can't find it with Jared Allen, but there's been times when Jared Allen was out and it was Kevin Love starting at the 5, and Hartenstein was still getting like 22 minutes, 24 minutes off the bench, and he was crushing. So really low owned play, maybe Hartenstein. Outside of that, I'm not playing Chetty Osman. If he beats me, he beats me at 5'7". Jared Allen, I don't know. Maybe you guys have a better read on him. I'm kind of under on this game as of right now.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm not going to have much exposure here. K. Fallick, any interest? Cavs, Mavs?
So if Love's out, the guy who benefits the most is going to be Dean Wade, actually, in my opinion. Just another guy you can add to the list that is a GPP value guy that could see some good run if somehow 8 Rockets play tonight. And that's the whole thing, is that you got to plan for 8 Rockets. And then you're also saying, all right, in New Orleans, we just got news on Naw and Steven Adams being out, but you have to now say, okay, is Dean Wade going to be a better player than Jackson Hayes playing similar minutes? Is that going to benefit him, or is he going to be a better play than James Johnson? So you just gotta understand that Dean Wade's going to be is going to be low owned. Dwight Powell's going to be low owned, probably, even though he's been smashing lately. So those are the guys that I think you can still play in that cheap area. Luka, I think, is going to be too high owned, to be honest. I think that people are looking for the pay up, and I just don't like that they still will not give him full run that he should be getting. I would, like, if you were to tell me I'd have to choose between Jason Tatum and Luka, I'd probably choose Jason Tatum, because I think Jason Tatum will play 40 minutes while Luka's going to play 35, and they're both going to see the ball about the same amount of time. Luka may get a little more run. So the Tim Hardaway thoughts is very accurate. He's been getting the ball a lot and shooting a lot. I just don't know if today's the slate where you want him. If that makes sense. You have to, again, you're making choices between a guy like Tim Hardaway Jr. or possibly Miami guys, or even going to Orlando. You could compare Tim Hardaway Jr. to Mo Bamba and say, I think I'd rather have Mo Bamba, even though they're playing separate positions, similar price tags, and on DK specifically, you have the ability to fluctuate those positions. So not a ton of interest in this game. There are some good GPP plays in this game, though, if the game stays close, if the game gets active and moves fast. Yeah, the tempo could affect it.
Yeah, and you just got to keep an eye out for Kevin Love and see who, if he does sit, who kind of slides into that starting lineup. And like you said, it could be Dean Wade, 3.8K. So something to keep an eye out on. Before we head to the next game, two things. Hit the like, hit the subscribe. Also, I wanted to remind you guys that we have that partnership going with SuperDraft. Use the promo code RUNPURE at checkout. You get a deposit match up to $100. We have a section in the core plays piece of content that focuses on SuperDraft plays. So head on over to SuperDraft, use that promo code RUNPURE at checkout. Got 4 more games. Nuggets, Jazz, 215.5 total. Utah favored by 4 in this game. And, first off, on the Utah side, don't have a ton of interest here. The one guy I don't mind would be Joe Ingles, 6.7K on DK. Think pretty nice floor with Mitchell and Conley out, 6.7K. Not the best price tag, but I'm fine as maybe like a last man in type play. And then on the Nuggets side, Jokic would be the guy that I want to spend up on today. If some people might be scared away of the matchup here with Gobert, but that doesn't bother me at all. I think Jokic can have his way. To me, Gobert is more of a help side defender, not necessarily a one-on-one defender. So I really like Jokic. He's the guy that I'd be spending up on if going into that range. Paul Millsap, I think, is an interesting play. 3.4K, played 25 minutes last game. This is a matchup here where he should get a decent amount of run. I just think Denver matches up. Their big lineup that they're rolling out. This is a perfect matchup for Denver against this Utah team. They're going to roll out this big lineup. Utah doesn't have the speed that's going to make them pay the price for rolling out this big lineup. I like Denver in this game a lot. I think Denver wins this game. And I like Jokic. I like Millsap, maybe a little bit of Joe Ingles for DFS purposes. K Fallick, will stick with you. What are your overall thoughts here, Nuggets, Jazz?
Yeah, I don't like Millsap at all tonight. I think Joe Ingles is definitely a cash play. So I think I know that we play different styles, but
yes,
I would say that Joe Ingles, if you're playing him in a GPP, then I think we need to have some conversations tonight. So here's my take is that I am not sure that Paul Millsap is a good matchup here, to be honest, because they don't have like that true big four and on Utah. They have speed guys. So I could see them going back to their way that they've been playing and putting Austin Rivers in and Campazzo in, Shaq Harrison in at the 1 and the 2 again and going that route. People just haven't realized that Campazzo is absolutely smashing. And I don't understand why people don't see that. And now he's going to get probably Jordan Clarkson defense, or whoever else that's going to guard him. And then the same with Austin Rivers. He had a great game last game too. And Landa is saying, I don't know who you pay up for because Luke is at a lock because I don't know who else you're going to pay up for. Well, I can tell you that this is one guy I'm paying up for is the Joker. He is in a spot to smash again. Usage is through the roof. No matter if he plays 30 minutes, if he only plays 30 minutes, it means that he's either their team has won handily and it's because of him. And if he plays 35 or 40 minutes, it's because the game is not out of hand and it's because of him keeping the game close. So I think that Nikola Jokic is a absolutely fantastic play. One of the first guys that you should be considering in your lineup.
Yeah, absolutely love Jokic here. I think close spread in this game. Nuggets are still playing to win these ball games. Really like Jokic as a spend. AP thoughts here on the Nuggets Jazz.
Yeah, I mean, fantastic breakdown right there. I don't have a ton to add. I will say, with Paul Millsap in tournaments, I do think he's going to be popular. So I like him as a fade. If you want to punt, there's going to be better punts, but JaMychal Green would be one of the guys that I'd probably play over Paul Millsap. They play about the same amount of time, whether Millsap is starting or not. Green more productive, in my opinion, off the bench. I will say, like, it's a bad matchup for Gobert, honestly, with how Jokic plays. Like, it's a really bad matchup for him. So I agree with you guys. I think I already have Jokic #1 pay up option right now on the playbook. I don't think there's anything that's going to change that as well.
Yeah, I think we're all in agreement. And yeah, the chat they're questioning, who do you pay up for? It's Jokic.
Jason Tatum and Jokic.
Get ready for the next person that you pay up for. If we're going to that game next, it's my other pay up. So
all right, well let's head there right now. We have the Knicks, we have the Suns. 260.
Nope, not that game.
Well, we can go through this one quick.
Is it Dame time? We'll get to it.
Yeah, just wait.
This one's going to be quick. The Knicks, Suns, 216.5. Phoenix favored by 6.5. Obviously two teams that for DFS purposes at this stage of the season we're not really looking to, and it's been the case for a while. Two teams that are defensive minded, two teams that kind of run pretty deep rotations. That could change a little bit for the Knicks here. They have Burks and Quickly both listed as doubtful. I mean, if they both do end up sitting, maybe take a look at Peyton, maybe RJ Barrett a little bit, Derrick Rose. I don't know if he necessarily will have to go there, but those guys would get potential boost, maybe even Reggie Bullock a little bit. Then on the Sun side, I just haven't been playing these guys. It's worked out quite well, and I'm going to continue that approach tonight. AP, anything you like here in this game?
I mean, so Chris Paul's put up some monster numbers. I have never been on him when he's put up those numbers, and as we often say, if he beats me, he beats me. I'm not going to be on him here in a tough matchup against the Knicks. I will say, if you want a worse play than Millsap, probably Torrey Craig, same price range. I'm not playing him today either. This game is honestly a fade for me.
Yeah, pretty easy game to fade, I think. Kate Fallick, any hidden gems here for you?
Well, except for the Discord this morning that turned into a 15-minute conversation on a guy that should never be discussed anymore after the coach literally said, I'm not playing him anymore. Sir Kevin Knox is not going to go for 10X like it was discussed in the chat this morning, Mr. Redman. Love you, but no, it's not happening. The simple answer is, as AP said, if someone beats me in this game, they beat me. I don't know how you can even touch anyone in this game unless you get some crazy news that some guys are going to rest, which they haven't done that in New York or in Phoenix all season. So just skip over this game, move on. There are plenty of other games to play.
Yep. All right, next game, we have the Spurs. We have the Kings, 223.5 total. Spurs favored by 4.5. My stance really hasn't changed much on the Spurs all season long. I just typically have avoided this team for DFS purposes, and more times than not, it's worked out quite well. Not going to change my approach here tonight. Just a lot of inconsistency in the rotations, just a lot of inconsistent play overall. You throw Pop into the equation, and just not a DFS friendly spot. Now the matchup is good with the Kings, but I'm fine. I won't be playing any Spurs. On the Kings side, though, things are a little bit different. DeLon Wright, the price tag has come up, but he's just been absolutely smashing. Should play close to 40 minutes tonight. Last two games, 55 and 55.25 fantasy points. Buddy Hield's been playing really well. Marvin Bagley, bad price on DK, only 5.9K. Strong play there. Rashawn Holmes has been pretty disappointing. I mean, he's the one guy I think on this team that's been a disappointment overall with all these guys out. But I think he's still in the conversation tonight. 6.6 on DK. Mo Harkless, 3.6K. I think you can play a lot of Kings guys tonight. Should be a close game. The minutes, all these guys are going to play a crap ton of minutes. K. Fallick, thoughts here?
Yeah, you have to be interested in the Sacramento side. I don't know how else to put it. It's very interesting. Would you call that Buddy Hield is a semi-cash play tonight, Poop? I don't think I've ever heard Buddy Hield in this conversation of cash, but lately it feels like he's maybe a cash play.
Well, I mean, yeah, when you're looking at cash plays, you're looking at number one, are they going to play a lot of minutes? And number two, are they going to be productive with those minutes? And the answer to both those questions, the first question is yes. The second question is yes. 42 minutes, 37 minutes, 40 minutes, 42 fantasy points, 45 fantasy points, 42 fantasy points. You know he's going to play a shit ton of minutes. You know he's going to shoot the ball a ton.
But it's not even his shot. It's not even his shot lately that's been the most impressive part to me. It's that he's getting rebounds and assists.
Assists. Yeah. You know what? That's a good point. I didn't have him on the cash chart. I'm going to go ahead and add him in here in honor of you.
Hey, look at me helping out the team. All right.
Continue on.
All right. So listen, the Sacramento side is again down to three guys, and you got to make a decision. And that's where this slate gets really interesting is how many cheap guys do you want to play, because that limits the number of guys you can play in your lineup. On FanDuel, you only have spots for 9 guys. On DK, you only have spots for 8 guys. If you choose to play 4 guys that are cheap and pay up for the other 4 guys, or figure out a way to pay through the other 4 guys, you're not going to be able to get guys like Buddy Hield, DeLon Wright, Marvin Bagley in your lineup, which are 3 of the elite plays tonight, whether no matter what. So, but understand that there's no way that if you pay down for 3 Rockets, you get one of the New Orleans guys, the lineup's not going to build correctly, and you're going to be either hoping that you win with $10,000 left on the table, or that you're going to win by hitting the nuts somehow with these cheap guys. And so you have to make the decision of how many cheap guys you're going to play, how many of these mid-tier guys, and how many of the expensive guys you're going to play. And these 3 guys for Sacramento, in my opinion, 100% impact that. Buddy Hield is an elite play that is safe, in my opinion, that has insane upside if he gets hot. DeLon Wright, like I could see Buddy Hield if I don't even know what the odds are, but like what's interesting for him is you could throw a little triple-double odds out and see if he could hit that triple-double. He's been getting rebounds. He's been getting assists lately. San Antonio doesn't have a great defense, so Buddy Hield could go nuts tonight. Same thing with DeLon Wright, seeing the usage. Marvin Bagley is getting 20 shots a game at the post, and he has the rebound and upside as well. So as long as he stays out of foul trouble, these 3 are incredible plays tonight, and you have to figure out how you're going to build to be able to fit them in. Not much interest in anybody else, to be honest, though.
Yeah, I mean, Kings, really good spot here. Tough to avoid. I think you definitely want some exposure, regardless of what news we get. I think you definitely want some exposure to Kings guys tonight, regardless of if you're spending up, hitting the guys in that mid-tier, or hitting on the cheap guys. You want Kings in your lineup. AP, thoughts here on this Kings Spurs game?
Yeah, I mean, this game is actually pretty big for both teams. Like, if we just look at the standings right now, the Pelicans, they're packing it in. That, gives room for the Kings to potentially get into this playoff spot, or the play-in spot. So they play the Spurs tonight. The Spurs are in that 10 spot. The Kings are just on the outside looking in, but they get 2 games against OKC back-to-back. Then they get 2 games against Memphis. Like, you got to, and then a game that won't matter for Utah. That's their last game of the year. Like, you got to think that they're coming in with confidence right now, especially you got these scrubs that are coming in playing. They want to, prove that they're still worth it. And a win over the Spurs would go a long way. So the only other thing I'll add is DeLon Wright has been so good on defense, racking up steals and blocks left and right. That makes me worried about the Spurs. If he does that again tonight, you're going to see Pop immediately take, DeJounte Murray out, DeRozan, whoever is committing those turnovers. It makes them very risky. So I agree with you guys. I like Wright. I like Bagley. I like Hield. I even like Holmes. Rashawn Holmes has been the guy that no one's playing. He's going to smash one of these games. So I'm building 3 to 4 lineups tonight. I'm going to stagger. I'm going to have some Holmes in there. I'm going to have Bagley. I'm going to have Hield. I'm going to have DeLon. I'm going to have 2 to 3 of these guys in all those builds, most likely.
I like the Holmes call. I think he's the one, out of the main guys that goes the lowest owned. And, throughout his career, even this season, he's shown massive, massive upside when he gets minutes. He's going to play minutes tonight. So I definitely like that call. All right, last game on the slate here. Lakers, Trailblazers, 222 total. Portland's favored by 7.5 in this game. And on the Lakers side, tough go here for the Lakers. Anthony Davis left yesterday's game with back spasms, but then they immediately announced that he was going to play tonight. He's listed as probable. Sounds like he's going to go. Obviously, a very risky play. I won't be on him. The one guy, though, that I will be on, Alex Caruso, 4K. I think he's a safe play tonight. I mean, maybe more of a cash game play. I don't know how much upside he really has, but at 4K, definitely in the cash game conversation. On the Portland side, tough team really for DFS just because of the fact they have so many guys that can contribute. I'm not really seeing anyone that I have interest in. Maybe you guys do from a tournament perspective. I'll stick with you, AP, Lakers, Trailblazers. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, this is a big game. I just closed my standings browser, but yeah, I think this is a big game for Portland. If my memory serves me right, they probably want to win this game. You'd have to think. And with AD, like back spasms, I mean, if I get down 20 early in a game, I'm going to have back spasms too. He's probably fine, but still, he's 9.8K, very risky play, and he just hasn't looked good. He hasn't been as aggressive. The guy that's been far more aggressive is Kyle Kuzma offensively, 5.6K. I actually have interest in him. I love the idea of pairing him and Dame Lillard. I think Dame's going to go off and have a big game tonight as well. Even if the Blazers pull away, which they have done in recent games, Dame has 50 plus DK point games in a row. I think it's a spot where we could see a late Dame hammer putting up a 60 piece.
Hey, Fallick, is this your spend spot?
You got it. I've been playing Dame Lillard's in the last 4 games. I've been right there side by side with Dame Lillard, Dollar Dame, whatever.
Yeah, actually, yeah. Sorry to the Lillard family for the mispronunciation. Dame Lillard. Yeah. I'm sorry.
I played him against Brooklyn. I've played him against Boston. I've played him against Atlanta. I played him against Cleveland. And each one of those games, he has not let me down because his price was too cheap. And even at 9-7 against LA, he's too cheap in a game that matters. I truly believe that it's Dame time. It's playoff time. He doesn't want the playing game. I can also tell you that. I will say there is one thing that concerns me about Dame tonight, and I'm just going to bring it up now, is that I've been playing him when Norman Powell has not been in. So I knew that because of Norm Powell being out, Dame was in play. So that is the one concern I have. But I will say that if you have projections that project him at 46 to 48 points, it's too low right now. It's too low because he isn't playing full minutes even in these last 2 of the last 3 games, and he's still smashing that number. So in my opinion, he's priced too low. And I think it's Dame time we're getting to the playoffs. This is where he shines. And right now this is playoffs. He doesn't want to play in playing games. I guarantee you, he does not want to play in the playing game. And this Lakers team, I have no interest in. And as Big T would, I am not a betting guy too much, but I will get a little Big T in here and say, I'm betting against the Lakers again tonight. Portland is winning tonight. That is my thoughts. I will also say to who was the person that said that Buddy Hield triple-double? Big T's burner. You know what? Big T's in here in his burner account talking down my Buddy Hield call. I am saying to you that if it is a good odds, which I anticipate there being insane odds on Buddy Hield getting a triple-double, it is in play right now because Buddy Hield is running that team with DeLon Wright. That is all I'm saying. I'm not saying that Buddy Hield's going to get a triple-double and you can bank it. It is like he's a good play tonight, and I truly believe he is.
It's telling you where we're at, this is even a conversation. You know, that it's even a possibility that Buddy Hield goes out and get a triple-double. Like that's unheard of. Like you watch this guy play, typically it's not even something you'd consider, but he's a different man right now on the court. So I don't hate that call. Love the Dame Lillard call. The nice thing for the GPP players out there is he is not showing up in projections. He's not popping as a good value, and people have really avoided him since he's come back. Since him and McCollum have been in there, and then Nurkic came in. People have not been playing Dame, so I really like that call. AP Lakers Trailblazers thoughts?
Yeah. I think I started us off, right?
Did you already talk about this one?
Well, I do got one last comment. So if anyone's out there saying
final thoughts on this game.
Yeah. So if anyone's out there saying, Lakers elite defensive team, they don't watch these games. They have been very bad on defense.
Yeah.
Like look what Kyle Lowry did the other night against them. I mean, man, his shot was on. He was going nuts, and he was making contested jumpers. But Dame could have that same night. I'm telling you, Kate Fallick, get Kyle Kuzma in there. He's the guy that offensively the Lakers need. And the Blazers just don't play defense. I don't know if it's Terry Stotts or what it is. They just don't play defense. This game, I think, is very interesting as a late game hammer stack.
Yeah, and both teams that are going to be fighting for something. We got a little bit of news. Robert Williams has been ruled out for Boston. So a little thinner. Doesn't really change too much for me, though, to be honest with you.
I will say, if Caruso's out, you can again just give another reason why Dame Lillard Sir Lillard is a good play tonight. Is because Caruso is probably the only guy on that team that can really stand in front of him and be aggressive with him. So.
All right, let's go ahead and move into our plays of the day. We'll start with AP and the hair gel play of the day. Who do you got for us?
Yeah, so I wasn't on this guy originally, but as I think about it a little more, and K Fallick kind of sold me on it. I still don't like the idea of spending up so early on in the slate, but I'm going with Jason Tatum, 10.5K Friday night. I think he gets in the zone. Friday night, important game. They need a win. I think he's going to put up like another 60 piece, 60, 65, something like that. He's going to have a monster game tonight.
That is wild, though. It's on Friday nights. I mean, maybe he's got a workbench session waiting for him.
Exactly.
If you don't score 60, you aren't getting the workbench tonight.
You're not getting the bench.
Maybe that's what it is.
All right, I'll go next. I'll go next with the 4X play of the day. We're going to save the charts play for last. So the 4X play of the day is a guy actually that AP kind of talked me into. It's going to be Rashawn Holmes, 6.6K on DK. I think those other Kings guys have much more ownership. We've seen big time upside from Rashawn Holmes in the past. So give me Rashawn Holmes as the 4X play of the day tonight. And finally, lastly, the charts play of the day from K Fallick. Who do you got for us?
So I'm gonna give two plays that I think are just elite tonight. That one is going to be lower owned than the other, and I think it's an interesting play for GPP, and that's our boy Facu. Facu is in a great spot tonight. I don't think anybody sees what he can do tonight with what he's been doing with 35 minutes of playing time. And so Facu is very much in play. I think he's going to get some steals in here again, like he's been getting lately as well, guarding Jordan Clarkson, who just is not a good, doesn't control the ball well. He just likes to shoot a lot. And then the second guy I want to give y'all, and I'm going to stand by it, is Dame Lillard. Is a fantastic play tonight, and in the GPP world, you better be considering playing him tonight. He is just such a good play. If he gets 38 minutes, you're going to see him putting up 20 to 25 shots. He will get a double-double with his assists as well. I can't guarantee the triple-double, unfortunately, maybe a little too short, but you can guarantee getting close to a double-double, if not getting that double-double tonight.
Yeah, love that call. And ownership, have you seen like ownership on it? I imagine it's got to be pretty low, right?
For Dame?
Yeah, for Dame, yeah.
So the problem is that you got this New Orleans news during the show, and you're still waiting on the Rockets news officially. But right now, I'm seeing him in like the 10% area, which I think is even possibly a little too high. So
cool. All right, that's going to do it for us. Make sure you guys head on over, check out JSU and Holden Final Countdown. They'll be taking you up to lock, part of the premium product at Run Pure Sports. If you're not already a member, RPS Heater 25 gets you 25% off a monthly package of your choosing. So head on over to Rumpier Sports. We're going to get on out of here, though. So for AP, 4K Phallic, I'm Hoop. Good luck tonight in your contest.